The Long Live Alternative Parties podcast. Today, friends, we have another exciting guest in our podcast. He's with the Independent Green Party here, and he's going to talk to us about the exciting things he's doing with the party and what the party's doing. His name is Carey, so welcome to the podcast, Carey.
Andrew, buddy, thank you for doing this. This is very, very important that we emphasize that in the United States of America, we have the two larger corporate parties, and then we have other political parties, and specifically the Green Party, which in the last presidential cycle, of course, with Dr. Jill Stein and Butch Ware, came in third place. We actually only have two other national parties in the United States, that, of course, being the Green Party and the Libertarian Party. And then, of course, there are state parties around. I have served as Independent Green Party chair in Virginia for many years. I probably want to start off by sort of going through the resume, but the big announcement that I want to get to right up front here is here in Northern Virginia, in Fairfax County, it looks like we're going to have a special election for local Braddock District Council, Fairfax County Board of Supervisors. So let me sort of frame that for you. Our incumbent congressman in the 11th Congressional District, Jerry Conley, passed away I believe Jerry was 74. I had known Jerry myself from the times when he was on the Fairfax Federation of Citizens Associations as president. I myself have served as the Fairfax County Federation of Civics Associations vice president. I've served as chair of the budget and the transportation committees, and also served as the representative from the Fairfax County Federation of Citizens Association to the Washington Metropolitan Council of Governments on the Environmental Committee. So in any case, Jerry passed away, so a special election for Congress was called. That special election will occur on September 9th. The Independent Green Party of Virginia tried to field a couple of candidates, but as is often the case in the United States, the party must petition, the Green Party must petition to get on the ballot,
Sure.
And these petitioning windows for a special election are very short. The two corporate parties, of course, have ballot status, so it's not a burden that they have to carry, and it's not a thing they have to do. In any case, the incumbent Braddock District Supervisor ended up being the nominee for one of the corporate parties, and he is likely to be leading in the polls now and is the overwhelming favorite to be elected to Congress on September 9th. And after that, then the Braddock District's seat on the Fairfax County Board of Elections would be called for a special election. Under Virginia law, the election, we have 81 days. You have to have 81 days until the actual election. So it does not look, it's been speculated in the media, that special election for Braddock District Supervisor for Fairfax County would actually be called for the first Tuesday in November, the regular election. And we have governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, House of Delegates, and state Senate elections here in Virginia this year. But that will be too tight of a window for the governor to call the election for Braddock District Supervisor for November. So normally in this cycle, we'll see that election in the first week of December. So I'm announcing publicly for the first time here now that I do plan to be an independent candidate for Braddock District Supervisor. Now, my primary platform there, Andrew, will be more trains, less traffic, running to promote that we build rail and that we are walkable, bikeable, pedestrian, and a rail-friendly community. And also that we go to 100% renewable energy in Fairfax County. That means putting solar, wind, geothermal on all of our public buildings. Now, we have a very large county. I should have pointed this out in the larger context. Virginia has a population of over 8 million people. Fairfax County makes up over 1/8 of that, with a population of well over 1,100,000. So we have a lot of public infrastructure that the county controls, many buildings. So it's a great opportunity. So why would calling for that? Because it's a savings. I run as a fiscally conservative, independent, green candidate, and solar, renewable energy, we have to emphasize, is fiscally conservative. It's fiscally responsible to the taxpayer. I myself have put solar, geothermal, batteries in my home, in my residence. My wife and I actually have 3 small houses, 3 small properties, and on all of them we have all of those things. And each house is a plus energy house. That means from the renewable energy, from the batteries, that the houses produce more energy than they consume. Now, it wasn't just about the geothermal heating and cooling system, the solar panels, the batteries. It's also about windows and good insulation in the houses.
Okay.
So this is something that we should do on all of our public buildings, because we would save a great deal of taxpayer money. Now, more trains, less traffic also means moving away from big auto, big asphalt, and cutting taxpayer subsidies for big oil, big auto, big asphalt to zero, and reducing parking requirements to zero. In other words, for many years, and I recommend the book from Donald Soup to you, the professor from UCLA that has documented this thoroughly, there's a tremendous societal cost and burden that providing mandatory parking, as we do across most of the United States, contributes to the homeless problem, because it increases the cost of building housing. So those are some of the key platform points that I will emphasize in my race for Braddock District, Fairfax County Supervisor, Braddock District, coming up. Now, I should go into detail and tell a little bit more about my resume and who I am. Next month, I'll be 69 years old. I'm a magna cum laude graduate of the University of Maryland European Division, graduated with a degree in German studies and German language. I studied business and accounting at the University of Kentucky, and also studied at the German University, Albert Ludwigs Universität in Freiburg, Germany. And Freiburg, Germany, for a long time has had a majority Green Party in the city council. And a Green Party mayor for 18 years, and has now had the longest serving governor in Baden-Württemberg history, an old friend of mine from the 1970s, a Green Party's Winfried Kretschmann. That's a 5-year term there in the German state of Baden-Württemberg, and Kretsch, as we call him in the Greens, was elected once, twice, 3 times. The election is coming up next year, and he is not going to run for re-election. But that is the reason, with a state government Green and with a local government Green in Baden-Württemberg, that the Greens have been able to make so much progress. And Freiburg was recently received an award as the greenest city on earth, with walkable, bikeable, pedestrian, and rail-friendly communities, with solar, geothermal heating and cooling, and minimum requirements for insulation. Absolutely beautiful city. I also should mention I'm an Air Force veteran. I was a TV news anchor. I was a teenage DJ, and as a teenager started doing the news and did broadcasting for about 15 years for American Forces Network when I was there in Germany and Europe for about a decade. And that's how I came to study at the University of Freiburg oder Albert Ludwigs Universität in Freiburg. And for those who don't know their German geography, that's right down there by Basel, Switzerland, right in the southernmost western corner of Germany. Let's see now. More things about my resume specifically that make me the best candidate for Braddock District Supervisor. I have lived in the Braddock District 38 years, and I have served on the North Springfield Civic Association as chair of the Public Safety Committee. I'm currently chair of Planning and Zoning. I've served as chair of the Transportation Committee. I was elected from North Springfield Civic Association to represent North Springfield on the Braddock District Council. And as previously mentioned, the next step up represented North Springfield on the Fairfax Federation of Civics Association. And still now, I serve on the Fairfax Federation of Civics Association's board as a past vice president. I have, after co-founding the Independent Green Party of Virginia over 25 years ago with Joe Odo and Professor George R. Tex Wood, a Shakespearean professor, a wonderful man, and other important figures like Jeremy Good. 25 years ago, I've served as state chair for a period, then served on the State Central Committee, then on the State Executive Committee, and now have returned as state chairman. Also, recently, I'm a union man. I've been in the union for decades.
Wow. And
for the past few years, I've served in a leadership role in my local union. It is AFGE, AFL-CIO, Local 1534. So I first served as a steward, then I served as third vice president, then stepped up to second vice president, and then in an overwhelming landslide vote just a few weeks ago, our entire slate of reformist candidates for our local union were elected by a landslide. 86% to 14% is what our lead candidates received, and I will serve on the executive board as executive vice president for a 2-year term. We were just sworn in last Wednesday, and if you go to my Facebook page, Carey Chet Campbell, you can see a picture of 3 and 4, 7 of what will eventually be 11 members of the executive board. 2 of the members of the executive board were on travel, so they could not be there for the swearing in. I'm also proud to note that right now we have a majority on the executive board of women. There are 5 women just sworn in and 4 men. Now, this includes, our local union includes the State Department, USAID, and where I work, OPEC/DFC. So we are excited about the opportunity that the voters in Local Union 1534 have given us a mandate to work and fight for their rights and represent them. So I have gone on for quite a bit. I'll pause and let you ask a question, Andrew.
Great. Yeah, you sound like you have a great resume, a lot of stuff. You read my mind, because one thing we like to ask our guests is about their educational experience, how that helps their political understanding of the world. It sounds like that helped you a lot because you went over to Germany and you saw the Green Party dominating there.
Well, I met Petra Kelly, who was, along with many others, the co-founders of the Green Party, and that was in the mid-late 70s. And for me, Petra Kelly, the nonviolence advocate, is the seminal political figure in my life.
Oh.
She was charismatic. She was articulate. She was incredibly courageous. And she had a tremendous ability to speak to regular folks. And she was known as a rapid speaker. She always talked so fast. And of course, as a TV news reporter, one of the great things about that is you only have limited time on TV, not like these longer podcasts. And so Petra, like no one I've ever seen before or since, could cram so many facts and so much information with her very attractive good looks, her tremendous linguistic skills, masterful in both English and German, and she was just brilliant. She was the key figure at that time in the 70s, known around the world as the face of the Green Party. She would then go on and get with the first group of Greens that were elected into the German parliament. Their system, of course, there is different. It's a parliamentary system. We, as you well know,
Yes.
have the first past the post system here in the United States, and the Green Party here in the United States has long worked and continues to advocate that we remedy that. And the way the German system works, and it of course came out of the Weimar period, the Weimar democracy that was destroyed by the Nazi fascists, and one of the weaknesses of the Weimar Republic was that any small group that got any small number of votes could get into the parliament. And what that led to was tremendous fragmentation. So the Germans created in the Grundgesetz, the ground law, what we would refer to in the United States as the Constitution, in 1948, when they refounded the Republic, they created the 5% Klausur. So it's the 5% hurdle. So any party that gets above 5% in local, state, or federal elections automatically gains representation, proportional representation in the legislative branch. And that, I've lived over there, I've seen it for almost a decade, and we travel, as you would suspect, I have almost every year back to Europe and Germany. We have family in Spain and France, and of course Germany, and I would go back and see my old Air Force boss every year to check on him. And my wife had brothers there, still has a brother. We have nieces and nephews up in the Ruhrgebiet. And so I have followed and admired the German system after studying it, after lived in it, and seen how much more representative that is for the average person. It provides a much, much greater voice. And two other things, of course, that the Green Party presidential candidate from 2000, Ralph Nader, recently commented on this in an editorial about the absurd disparity between CEO pay and your regular worker. And Germany does a much better job of controlling that, and a much larger participation in unions and union and negotiation management. The most recent statistic I saw for the United States is our unions were down to 10 or 11%. And this, we see the negative effects of that in the disparity of pay in the United States, and of course the problematic, disproportionate concentration of wealth in the very tip top, where so few control so much. And that is a crucial Green Party policy for more economic equity, more social justice. And that is the positive reason that we see for voting for the Green Party. Something else I want to bring up when we're talking about international politics and the growth of the Green Party around the world. You're seeing that especially now in the local elections in Wales and in England for the Green Party there. The Green Party are taking away seats from the Conservatives, 10, 20, 30, hundreds now of seats that the Green Party has taken over in the past few years since Labor has been such a disappointment. And one of the big issues that the Green Party is pushing, of course, both in the United States, Wales, England, and of course with my name Campbell, my heritage is Scottish, and the Scottish Green Party, of course, is in Parliament there and was part of a governing coalition in Scotland for several years that just ended, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago or so, and did a great job. But what you're seeing there is growing popularity of the Green Party, and especially the on-the-ground victories in so many local elections because of this economic disparity and, of course, pollution problems that exist, especially in the waterways without the proper plumbing and so forth. But let me pause, Andrew, and once again, for any question you might have.
Yes. How are you reaching the voters in this election? What's your strategy for that?
Well, I am a well-known figure based on my resume, and I have known more about the Fairfax County government than the other three candidates in the race have forgotten. Meaning I have gone door to door in the entire district. We have 24 different precincts in Braddock District. So I have knocked on every one of those doors over the years. I've run for this office several other times. One of the other things that, so people know me, so I'll be out hitting the doors and trying to mobilize as many volunteers as possible in Braddock District to get out there and do the same and pass out our cards. One of the things that I have done in all of my races, and one of the things that the Green Party hits on that is crucial that we get the corporate cash out of our elections process. Now, this local race in Braddock District will probably be somewhere between $100,000 and $200,000 is what the candidate will spend. And most of that money for the two corporate parties, as you well know, will come from the corporations, the vested interests. Big oil, big asphalt, big auto, because they want to pave the planet. They want to be rewarded on the back end. Of course, Atria, to name one, was, Virginia was a tobacco state. And Atria is, of course, the big tobacco company now. So they are still out here pushing their cancer-causing, murderous product to folks and contributing to candidates, even though I believe the statistic I saw that in the United States, only 15% of the population still smoke. As the younger folks know, this vaping that was popularized and advertised is what Atria and others have been pushing. And they will be out there. They'll be contributing to the corporate candidates, even for these local races. So it is a disaster, and it's appalling that the corporations are spending so intensively even on these local elections. But it's a fact. But one positive point that we need more green candidates, more candidates, and less apathy. Over the decades that we have had independent Green Party candidates and Green Party candidates running across Virginia, and I should mention Ballot Access News called the Independent Green Party the most active third party on the ballot in Virginia in 100 years. And every time that we have seen and got a candidate on, whether it's for local office, county board of supervisors, sheriff, school board, or House of Delegates, or State Senate, or U.S. House, or U.S. Senate, or, of course, the presidential race. Anytime we get a candidate on the ballot and in the debate, changes the debate. It changes what gets talked about. More importantly, it changes policy. We have seen that over and over across the decades in Virginia. Virginia, when you compare it to all the other states in the United States, has one of the better rail systems. And so many rail programs that we have advocated for over the years have come to fruition and been done. Now, why do we advocate for more trains and less traffic? Because it saves lives. Rail is a moneymaker. Every dollar invested in rail throws $21 in the economy. We also know the tremendous societal cost savings for rail, walking, and biking. People who use rail, bike, and walk are much healthier, lower rates of heart disease, lower rates of diabetes, lower rates of mortality. So this is about saving human life and about saving the tax dollar in healthcare costs, because across the aggregate of our population, everyone's illness, we all bear those costs ultimately through increased insurance premiums under this privatized system that we have.
Wow, that's
over to you, Andrew.
Good points you make. Good points. So you said, okay, I remember you talking about, because it's a special election, it's going to be held at a different date. And then you were saying September 9th, and then later you said something about December. So
sure. Let me back up for that. So our special congressional election to replace the now deceased Honorable Jerry Conley, that special election for Congress is September 9th.
Okay.
And the polls are showing that the incumbent Braddock District Supervisor will win that race, will be elected in that race in a landslide. And once he is elected, he will vacate the Braddock District Supervisor office, and then the governor, under our system here in Virginia, will call for the special election, and under the law, it takes 81 days for the election to occur.
Okay.
The key thing for us and anybody running outside the two corporate parties, the key thing for the independents, for Independent Green Party, for Green Party candidates, is tracking closely the State Board of Elections and the governor's announcements.
Oh.
Because these things, they disseminate that information to the two corporate parties. For the rest of us, we have to watch like a hawk and make sure that we get the information. Usually for these local elections, the petitioning window is very brief. Usually open, say, on a Thursday or Friday. You might have 5 to 7 days. So you really got to be on top of it and get out there. Now, as state chair of the Independent Green Party of Virginia, I want to make one important point that is positive and is constructive and will cheer you up, dear listener.
Okay.
In Virginia, we have a noble, good state board of elections. These people who work at the Virginia State Board of Elections are honorable, are great civic servants, civil servants. Across the decades of the Independent Green Party being in Virginia, we have always gotten a fair shake from the State Board of Elections. And where we have made mistakes, where we did not make the ballot, the responsibility was ours. We made a mistake in the paperwork, or we didn't get the signatures required.
Wow.
Now,
that's
great responsibility. Every time when we thought, that the state board, well, you guys made a mistake. Well, when we went back and we checked our emails and we checked the law, we found out we had misunderstood. We had misread. So oftentimes, our good civil servants at state boards of elections and also the county board of elections, are criticized or attacked for partisan political purposes. And as the state chair of the Independent Green Party of Virginia, I just want to say that's wrong. These people are doing the very best they can, and they are taking it right on the nose, and they are courageous, and they do, in every instance that I have seen for almost 30 years as a state Green Party leader, independent Green Party leader, and as an independent candidate for local office many times across the decades, and as a campaign manager for independent Green Party candidates at all levels, independent Green Party candidates running for local, state, and federal office. We have always gotten an honorable shake from the people at the state and the county board of elections across Virginia. And we have seen them unfairly, unjustly, wrongly attacked and criticized year after year. And so I just want to thank them for their great service and being honorable public servants, doing the best job they can and not being appreciated. And Virginia is a very conservative state generally. And as you know, in state and local government, we're required to balance our budgets every year. And so the State Board of Elections and the County Board of Elections in Fairfax County, Virginia, and all of our other counties, I think we have 88 counties in Virginia, and the State Board of Elections, they're not overrun with personnel. They don't have an abundance of people doing the job. They're working every minute and just doing outstanding. And let me give you the most recent example. Just last week, I think it was Thursday, around 6 a.m., I sent them an email, and doggone if they didn't respond to the email before regular business hours opened. I sent them a second email, again before business hours, with your regular business hours opening at 8, and they got right back to me again. So very conscientious, very hardworking people, and as the Independent Green Party State Chair of Virginia, we salute them and we thank them for their public service. There are lots of good, hardworking public servants out there all across the United States, and we need to applaud them.
There you go. So how can our audience support you in your campaign?
Well, allowing me to come on your podcast is a tremendous opportunity, and I'm honored that I was able to announce my independent candidacy for Braddock District Supervisor should that election occur. Now, under Virginia law, we won't be able to do much as an official candidate until the actual governor declares the election, and then we can begin the race. Also, we have other independent Green Party candidates running here in Virginia for state office this year, so I'd like very much to connect you with those candidates and allow them to be on your podcast and put you in touch with some of our other independent Green Party co-founders. Joseph P. Odo, who served as our state chair of the Independent Green Party of Virginia, moved to South Carolina a few years ago, and Joe is just an outstanding individual, and you should have Joseph P. Odo, Joe, on your podcast. Joe was a candidate in South Carolina for Congress outside of the two corporate parties last cycle and the cycle before that, and is planning to run again in 2026 for U.S. Congress. He has greatly enjoyed the changing landscape. If you happen to be in South Carolina and you are listening to this podcast right now, the State Green Party meeting for the South Carolina Green Party is next Saturday, this coming Saturday, in Charleston, the state capital there. Please go to the South Carolina Green Party webpage and find out the specifics about the location and the time the State Green Party meeting starts. They have the Green Party vice presidential candidate from 2 cycles ago, let's see, 2020, the lady truck driver there, quite a character, that ran with Howie Hawkins for vice president on the Green ticket in 2020. And the key thing that I would want to emphasize to anyone listening, you can really make all the difference. It's phenomenal what you can do if you get up off the couch and get engaged, and please go out there and run as a Green Party candidate for state, local, or federal office. And if you live in Virginia, please call me at 703-939-0970. That's Carey Chet Campbell, State Chairman, Independent Green Party of Virginia, 703-939-0970. Or you can reach me at my email, careychetcampbell@gmail.com. We have elections in Virginia every year, either local, state, or federal. We need independent Green Party candidates on the ballot in every race in every year. And when we do that, the policy changes. I want to talk a little bit about what tremendous successes the Independent Green Party of Virginia has had over the years. We now have Metro Rail to Dulles International Airport. We fought for that for decades, and it is a phenomenal system now. So instead of having to pay $60 for a cab to go to the airport now, you can ride the train. You can ride the rail out there, and I think it's $2.50.
Wow.
$2.50, dear taxpayer, versus $60. And the added factor is, of course, riding rail is much safer for you, 1,000 times safer at least, than getting in an automobile and getting on these by design clogged streets. More trains, less traffic. So that is one of the key successes. We have also in Virginia, we have Virginia Rail Express, and we have run candidates for Congress, Gail Ferrell Parker. You may have remembered Gail Ferrell when she was on the Colbert Report, when that existed, and she had a theme song written by our second congressional district candidate. That's down in Norfolk, Virginia, down there where the Navy base is, John Cogsall. And John is a lawyer and also a musician. And John wrote a theme song for Gail, and Colbert played that on his show. Just phenomenal. It's out there on the internet. Gail Ferrell, go out and look it up. It's a lot of fun. And Gail ran for U.S. Senate. We got her on the ballot twice. Phenomenal achievement. Gail traveled in 1 year over 100,000 miles across the state. We have to collect 10,000 valid signatures for a statewide race in Virginia. And so that means, as all you petition gatherers know, the Independent Green Party would have to collect 20,000 plus signatures to get Gail on the ballot, or any statewide candidate, which we have successfully done for Gail and also for Russ Potts when Russ ran for governor. And Gail's persistence in being a candidate for U.S. Senate, being a candidate for Congress in the 1st Congressional District, and that runs up from Richmond all the way into through Stafford, into Fredericksburg and Northern Virginia there, and along the border with Maryland, along the Chesapeake Bay. That's the 1st Congressional District. And we had long advocated for taking rail to Stafford. and building a new Virginia Rail Express train station there. That now exists. We long advocated for rail all the way to Roanoke, Virginia. And this infrastructure, building infrastructure, my friends, takes years, decades in some cases.
Sure.
So you have to keep your independent Green Party candidates on the ballot year after year, because the corporate party candidates, one's an auto party, the other one's a oil party, they're not going to push that. They're not going to advocate for that like an independent Green Party candidate will. And by pushing for that, we pushed them to advocate for us. And time and again, they would come to us and say, hey, drop out. Come on, drop out. We'll do it. And we don't quit. We don't drop out. And you stay out there, and squeaky wheel gets the grease. You get done what you want by staying after it. It takes years and decades, sure, but that's how our system's designed. That is real democracy. That is real grassroots democracy, but you can do it. So now we have rail to Roanoke, Virginia. My cousin lives down there. She takes the first class to come up here and see my 98-year-old Aunt Ida, who I am the primary caregiver for. And Ida's in the middle of eating an apple right now. Do you want to say hi to the audience, Aunt Ida? You want to say hi?
Hi.
Okay, there you go. No? Okay. Aunt Ida is a joy. And, so those rail programs that we have succeeded in, we advocated for decades to build a dedicated passenger rail track so we could increase passenger rail in Virginia. We are now in the process going to build a new rail crossing across the Potomac River from Virginia into D.C. We advocated for new rail stops in Alexandria, Virginia, the Potomac Yard Metro rail stop. That took years of advocacy. That now exists. More trains, less traffic, a disciplined, focused Green Party, independent Green Party message, not just 1 year, but across 3 decades. We have had independent Green Party candidates on the ballot at every level, pushing this and succeeding. We've also pushed bike programs, and we got the county to do a study, and the study showed that and designated an area to put in protected bike lanes. We're not talking about just where they go and, paint on the street. Jeff Speck, by the way, let me refer you to his book, 101 Ways for Walkability. Outstanding book on how you protect pedestrians and how you protect bicyclists. But the Fairfax County study showed that both drivers and bikers and pedestrians, when you created a road diet, that means you make the road smaller and you make space for bikers, everyone felt safer. Not only that, but because the road was narrower, people who had been speeding slowed down. And guess what happens there? You then have less accidents. You then have less injuries. You then have less social costs. And for businesses in this area, what the study also showed is bikers and pedestrians increase foot traffic in your business.
Oh.
Businesses' profits went up. And again, Speck's book and Donald Soup's treatise, the great book that he wrote, this data showing these effects has been out there for decades. But it has been drowned out by big oil, big auto, big asphalt. And also the key health effects when you have less pollutants. These big automobiles, and whether they're fossil fuel driven automobiles or they're even electric automobiles, the tire, the rubber, comes off and it pollutes, and you're talking more micro rubber, microplastics, and this increases runoffs, which then clogs our streams and clogs our lakes, pollutes our water. So walkable, bikeable, pedestrian, and rail-friendly communities make money, they save lives, and they create a healthier, safer environment. So these are just some of the successes in Virginia that the Independent Green Party candidates for office have been successful in pushing. Also, Fairfax County did a pilot program on Thomas Jefferson High School, putting solar on the roof. So by advocating this and pushing for this every election cycle, we have succeeded in moving that forward. Another example of an Independent Green Party success, our Fairfax County Government Center is a huge place, as you would expect it to be, with 1,100,000 plus citizens in Fairfax County. However, it was designed by the auto asphalt oil folks. So it has these massive parking lots. So we have pushed for years to build affordable housing in Virginia and to use property owned by the county. And so now that project is underway. They will take some of those parking lots and they will build affordable housing for our folks in the community who need it, like teachers, firefighters, local police. So these are positive, constructive successes of Independent Green Party candidates for local and state office by advocating for positive policy and being on the ballot. And let's just remind ourselves, we can get away from this corporate cash model. You don't have to spend any money really in a campaign to get out there and advocate for positive solutions. And you have a positive impact. Number one, the incumbent who gets elected knows your name, knows what you want, knows the Independent Green Party and the Green Party exists, and knows they need to respond to it. So that's my coaching and encouragement for everyone to get up off the couch and get engaged. Be an Independent Green Party candidate for office. You can make all the difference. Your voice matters. Your voice has power. It's our country. It's our republic. It's our democracy. These are our laws, and we have a duty, we have a responsibility of service to our community. You know, there's a beautiful admonition, love thy neighbor as thyself. Yeah. And in service, we can do that. I failed to mention earlier that I've been a member of the North Springfield PTA in addition to the Civic Association for many decades. You know, I'm a nosy guy. I've got my nose in everything that I can possibly find and want to be a positive influence and encouragement for a community. You know, it was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who said, used a wonderful phrase, a beautiful phrase, our beloved community. So by being in service to our neighbors, that is a way that we can show love and appreciation and respect. Another aspect of the Independent Green Party campaigns that we do our very best to do every time is stay on positive, constructive solutions like more trains, less traffic, walkable, bikeable, pedestrian, rail-friendly communities, 100% renewable energies, bring taxpayer subsidies to zero for big oil, big auto, big asphalt. These are positive policies. We try to avoid any attacks on the other candidates. You know that is a technique that the corporate cash parties have used to alienate our citizens from participation. They bash each other, and it's just not constructive. So we want to be constructive. We want to be positive. We want to lift up. We want to excite, invite, and empower you to get off the couch and get involved in your community as an independent or Green Party candidate, and lifting up the flag and showing that all of the bots and the corporate information that we're fed, as an old, that we're not going to let that stop us. We're just going to be hard-headed like my wonderful, beloved 98-year-old Aunt Ida. She lets nothing stop her. She just keeps going and going. And she is a witness and a testimony and inspiration to that can-do spirit, that we can make a difference. And I just can't tell you how much I respect and admire my wonderful Aunt Ida, and I'm so grateful to her, and I just thank God for her every day, and that she shows what's possible. And if she can do it, you can do it. We can all pick ourselves up and be a positive influence on our neighbor. We can set a positive example to get engaged. Winning, our Independent Green Party motto is winning is participating. Too often, and even I make the mistake sometimes, too often we use the words win and victory in context of an election. Those are really words for sports. And, Americans love sports metaphors. I'm an old basketball, football, track, baseball guy myself, and I fall into it. But elections are about being elected or influence, impact. And that's what we can all do. And, it's a perpetual thing. Once you set that positive goal, you see it to be it. And you can get there. And so I've dedicated my life, I think as I mentioned, I'll be 69 next month. For some odd reason, I feel 39 most days, but I've dedicated my life to service. I'm in my 45th year of service. I'm in my federal service, Air Force active for almost a decade, Army Reserve, Special Forces unit. I was in the MOS, military occupational specialty, is what that means, as a Russian linguist, with 389th Airborne out of Louisville, Kentucky. Hello, guys, if any of you guys are out there still, or ladies. Some of the toughest people I've ever seen. And so I've served our nation now in my 45th year, and it's been a great honor and a privilege to serve. And I encourage everyone who hears this, get up and serve. Get up and do good, because our collective will, our collective positivity, we can bring positive change. Our nation has done great and wonderful things, and we also stand on the shoulders of those who come before us. As a union officer and leader, I often go back and look at those famed strikes in Detroit, and that picture of Walter Reuter with a bloody face, and where the union national president, for crying out loud, and he had been out there picketing, and they beat him all up. People have died and sacrificed for us. I know it's in the union so that we have a 40-hour work week for some of us, most of us, that we have vacations, that some of us have insurance, that there's no child labor law, that there's no child labor, and that we do have labor laws forbidding it, even though one of the corporate parties wants to apparently bring it back. So we've got to get out there and fight for our rights. I would amend what the great Malcolm X said. Malcolm said by any means necessary. I would amend it by saying by any positive means necessary. But the spirit of what Malcolm was saying is, we got to get out there and use every positive means at our disposal. And the Green Party's Jill Stein so often loves to quote Frederick Douglass, the great Frederick Douglass, that power never concedes anything without a fight. Never has, never will. So that's, I'm a nonviolence advocate. The Green Party is founded on nonviolence. But nonviolence doesn't mean passivity. It does not mean not getting up there and advocating in the most intelligent, creative, constructive, positive ways that you can bring with all your heart and soul. So that's what the Green Party offers the nation, and that's what you can offer, whether it's local, state, or federal, as a Green Party candidate outside the two corporate parties. And let me just say, there are many well-meaning people, millions of them, who vote for the two corporate parties simply because they don't know by design that there's a Green Party option out there, that there's an independent Green Party option out there. And that's not by accident, as we know. The oligarchs and the corporations, the media, they've designed to isolate that and so that people cannot know. And so our job, each of us, if we get up and get off the couch and run as a candidate, that's where you get attention. And another benefit of all these decades of experience as an independent Green Party leader, as an independent Green Party candidate, as a campaign manager of multiple Green Party and independent Green Party candidates, one of the things that we laugh about and we see the irony and the silliness of it is they avoid us, right? The corporate media avoids the Green Party candidates.
Hey, Carey, I'm sorry. We got a hard stop right now. We're recording this in the library, and the library's closing right now. So I thank you for coming on the podcast today and spreading your vision. Have yourself a great night and all the best in your campaign.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity, Andrew. Good night.
Bye now.